All right. Do we have Coach Franklin on the call yet?
Yes.
Great to have you, Coach. Thank you very much. All right. And Coach Kiffin. Coach Kiffin, are you on the call yet?
He's walking in the room right now.
Okay. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. All right. Well, with knowing that we've got both coaches there, we'll go ahead and get started. First, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Selection Sunday press conference for the 2023 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Today, we'll be joined by our two head coaches and Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl CEO, Gary Stokan. After opening statements, we'll move to questions from the media. If you have a question, please remember to use the raise hand feature. When called on, we'll ask you to mute your line and go ahead with your question. At this time, we'll welcome head coach Lane Kiffin of the 11th ranked Ole Miss Rebels and head coach James Franklin of the 10th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions and Gary Stokan, CEO and president of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So Gary, with that, we'll start with some opening comments from you, please.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Just want to welcome everybody to the 56th Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. We're the 9th oldest bowl game in the country, but the first game founded for charity. That's in our DNA. We take great pride in that. We're the most charitable bowl organization in the country out of all 44 bowls, where we've given over $62 million to charity. We're also famous for our Southern hospitality and for both teams' experience. Out of all 44 bowls last year, the bowl season ranked the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl as the #1 student athlete experience bowl in the country. So it's very important to us to play great host to both teams, the players, the coaches, administration, and fans. They say styles make great fights, and we've got a great fight with one of the top offenses in the country and the top total defense in the country. A top 10 quarterback and a top 10 running back against the #1 total defense in the country. We got SEC versus Big Ten. And I just want to congratulate both Coach Franklin and Coach Kiffin, who we know well. They've been in our bowl before. James at Maryland, where they beat Tennessee in 2003. And also Lane was here with Alabama in 2016, as well as with Tennessee in 2009. So it's good to rally back with both James and Lane. Look forward to hosting you, your families, your players, your coaching staff, your administration, and your great fans. So with that, on behalf of our board, our staff, who are the best in the business, we want to welcome you to Atlanta, the capital of college football, for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thank you, Gary. All right. After comments from the head coaches, we'll go into Q&A from the media. Again, please make sure your viewer is labeled correctly and you use the raise hand feature. We'll take our opening statement at this time from Coach Kiffin. Go ahead, Coach.
All right, guys. Gary, thanks for having me. We couldn't be more excited to be part of this unbelievable matchup and to play a great university and program like Penn State and Coach Franklin, all the success that he's had there and the great players, and be close to home for us to where a lot of our fans can go to a great stadium and be a great matchup. So obviously a lot of stuff going on with playoff announcements and then the bowl games and then recruiting visits at the same time. So kind of in a whirlwind of things, but we couldn't be more excited about this bowl game and this matchup and coming to Atlanta.
Thank you, Coach. And now opening comment from Coach Franklin. Go ahead, Coach.
Gary, great to see you again. Yeah, we couldn't be more excited to play in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Had a great experience last time I was here. Obviously, ton of respect for Ole Miss from my time in the SEC. And then obviously for Lane. Me and Lane have known each other for a long time, obviously have followed his career from afar. We have a lot of friends in common as well. And, it's been great to watch those guys play when I've had the opportunity this year as well. He's always played an exciting brand of football. So when you talk about two programs, with such a strong brand and reputation and history, like Penn State and Ole Miss. Also pretty cool that Penn State has never played in the Peach Bowl, which is something that's unusual in 2023. There's not too many things you can say that has never happened, especially for a program like Penn State. Should be a great experience for our players, should be a great experience for our fans. And obviously the matchup between the Big Ten and the SEC, two of the most respected conferences in all of college football. So, Gary, we appreciate this opportunity. Lane, great year. Congratulations, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
All right. Thanks for that, Coach, very much. We appreciate it. All right. We'll just go ahead and jump into Q&A from the media. And we'll take our first question from Tyler Donahue from Lions 247. Go ahead, Tyler.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. This is for James and Lane on a similar subject, same subject, I suppose. But James, you announced the hiring of Andy Kotelnicki a couple of days ago. What will the preparation on offense and the approach on offense look like from your staff from that vantage point between now and this matchup? And Lane, preparing for a team that dismissed their offensive coordinator after 10 matchups, as you get to gather the film for this and get into it, how much do you take into account what has happened in the last 2 weeks versus what happened in those first 10 weeks?
Well, obviously, without getting into a whole lot of strategy with Lane actually on this call, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, obviously, we made a change and we have co-coordinators and they did a great job, for the last 2 games of the year. And we got Andy here. So Andy will be here more just taking everything in, getting a feel for how we operate, the culture, very similar to when we hired Manny. Be able to be here, be around our players, be able to sit in all meetings, be able to see strengths and weaknesses so that literally the day the bowl game ends, he can jump in with both feet and get going. So we'll keep things structured the way they have been for the last 2 games of the season.
Coach Kiffin?
Well, I'm glad James went first there because I didn't know much about the situation. So I was hoping James would answer. So then I would have my answer to that. So it sounds like we need to prepare a lot for the last 2 weeks. And, we know that they have great players led by a great head coach and obviously made a difficult decision and one that was in the best interest of their program. And they've done a really good job the last couple of weeks. We'll go to work on this and be excited to get some bowl practices before we get to the great city of Atlanta and play an awesome matchup game.
Hey, Matt, if any of the Ole Miss reporters could ask Lane some questions that could give me some understanding of what's going on in his program too, that would be helpful.
We'll do our best to help you on that, Coach. No problem. All right, we'll take our next question from Rich Scarcella from the Reading Eagle. Go ahead, Rich.
Thank you, Matt. This is for both coaches. Lane, first of all, how much do you know about Penn State's personnel? How much did you see of them just watching TV? And the same thing for you, James. How much do you know of Mississippi's personnel and how much did you see them this year just by happenstance? Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know a lot. I don't really, I kind of say this all the time. I think you guys think that we watch more football, on Saturdays than we do. So when we don't play teams that have common opponents, that we don't watch their film, for breakdown purposes, I don't really get to watch much football. So I don't get to see great teams like Penn State and other conferences play. So I got an early report from our personnel people that phenomenal players, a couple first rounders on defense that I was hoping Coach Franklin was going to announce they're opting out. So maybe he'll help us with that too. And so that's all I know.
Yeah, for us, really a similar response. Sometimes when you're sitting around the hotel, you get a chance to watch a few games or maybe even just a few highlights. We do have some guys that we both recruited that are either on our team or on their team, that we're familiar with, specifically their tailback. We got a ton of respect for. We recruited him out of high school. But yeah, besides that, we just, coaches don't really kind of make decisions or come up with a feel based off, seeing highlights on TV or watching a game kind of on TV in the afternoon while you're sitting around a hotel. It's very different than the coaches film that we study. So yeah, not a whole lot at this point, but obviously been able to see a little bit, and Lane's done a great job not only in recruiting but developing, and then also scheme. So it's going to be a challenge, and we recognize that. But literally just getting started. Probably like Lane, I'm sitting in a FBO right now. Just landed. Haven't had a whole bunch of time to do a whole lot more than that.
All right. We'll take our next question from Tyler Comas from Inside the Rebels.
Just for Lane here, are you expecting any opt-outs? Have you heard of any opt-outs, or do you kind of expect to have your full go there?
I have not heard of any. I would expect that we do, or that we don't have any. We're kind of not in one of those years where we really have, some first rounders that are, coming out that, are concerned of injuries and so forth. So I would not anticipate that happening with us.
All right, we'll go next to Mike Gross from the Lancaster newspapers.
Yeah, James, if you could just give us the rundown of sort of the logistics. When are you leaving to go down there? What's your practice schedule looks like? What are you going to be doing for the next couple weeks?
Yeah, as you know, our ops guys have already got this all mapped out. We've already sent it out to the players and the parents and things like that. But again, I'm sitting in FBO, just got off the plane. I don't have those things in front of me, but we'll be trying to balance recruiting as well as these bowl practices that we have right now that are more, kind of like spring ball practices, program development practices, while we take the time to come up with the game plan and get into the specifics of Ole Miss, but we're not ready to do that yet. And then we obviously have finals week as well. So we're kind of still in that, recruiting / information gathering period on Ole Miss, but we will get a little bit of work into.
To Seth Engel from the Daily Collegian.
Hey, James, Lane, hope you're well. Wanted to ask about opt-outs again. What is your kind of role in that decision making? Obviously, it's up to them and their families. But is there something that maybe you can say? Are these conversations that you're actively having with these guys? And does that change for you, James, and Lane, you too? Thanks.
Yeah, obviously you hope that the relationships that are there, that you've had over a number of years with these players and their parents, that they'll, use you in part of that process. But the challenge in college football, when we changed the rules and allowed agents to be talking to these players their entire college career, that's the challenge, right? They're getting information, and it's not always accurate information from every direction. So we just try to create an open communication line, try to give guys as much valuable information as possible. And then from really that point on, at the end of the day, we just want our guys to be able to make, great educated decisions based on all the information that's out there.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned before, I don't think that, no disrespect to our guys, just from grades coming back and what in conversations with our players in general, I don't think that we have guys really in that conversation, of that first round type of grade or projection to potentially opt out. So I don't think that will be an issue with us this year.
Michael, I think you're on mute. Go ahead and unmute and go with your question.
Did you say me? Sorry, you broke up there for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. This one's for you, Lane. I know you guys weren't necessarily sure if you guys were going to get that New Year's Six berth this year. Did you guys have a watch party or anything? How'd you guys find out, and what was the player reaction when you guys got the news?
We did not have a watch party. we were actually just here working, recruiting. We had an official visit weekend here. And so I was really in recruiting meetings, and this would probably surprise you guys. I found out on the TV like all you guys did. So obviously excited about that. And we mentioned before what a great matchup it is and what a great stadium to play in the city. So I was very excited, but not probably what you thought. We were just continuing to work and had a lot of official visitors here and a lot of meetings to do.
All right, next we'll go to Dan Tortora. Go ahead, Dan.
For both of you, for James, as well as for Lane at Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. Just what you can say about the balance of preparing for this New Year's Six Bowl, as well as the transfer portal opening, the opportunities of players going in and out, and typical recruiting, how the world you live in right now is kind of like an Autobahn, so to speak.
Coach Franklin, start with you, please.
Yeah, I think that's the challenge, right? You got to, number one, take care of your current players and make sure that they are, developing and finishing strong academically and giving yourself the best chance to be 1-0 this week, or for this game, excuse me. But at the same time, you better be bringing in players, whether it's from high school or from the transfer portal, that are going to allow you to keep growing and developing as a program and as an organization for the future. So it's the constant battle of those two things. And that's why you see college football staffs have gotten bigger, because literally you're trying to do both at the same time constantly. And obviously this time of year, right before signing period and the transfer portal opening, it magnifies it even more so.
Yeah, I think, like Coach mentioned, it's a big challenge trying to manage all that at the same time. There's always been recruiting and bowl game, but now portal doesn't just mean the guys you see going to the portal, means your own guys and managing that. And so you're basically managing your current roster and you're trying to manage your projected roster for next year at the same time. So there are a lot of challenges to it. That's the world we live in now, and a calendar that's not very ideal or set up very well, but we have to maximize the situation that the calendar puts us in.
We'll take our next question from John Sokoloff from WCBI. Go ahead, John.
Hey, this one's for Lane. Lane, it's your second, New Year's Six Bowl appearance in 3 years. And I mean, I'm just curious, a year from now, this position would be in the college football playoff as well. How much have you seen that kind of success so recently of such a high caliber? How much have you seen it kind of pay dividends on the recruiting trail and kind of the new landscape of college football?
Well, I think it does matter. I think, just as I said, we're in all day today, and after this announcement, in recruiting meetings with kids and families, and that's pretty neat to say, to the last 3 years to be in New Year's Six Bowls. And obviously we have a goal to do better this time around and finish off and have the first 11-win season in the history of the school. So, but anytime that, your players are having success on the field and doing well, helps you in recruiting.
For a couple more, we'll go next to Charles Odom from the Associated Press. Go ahead, Charles.
Thank you. In the first playoff news of the day, obviously there was great impact for SEC current and future teams and the Big Ten as well. And I wanted to ask both coaches their reaction to some dramatic developments and some very difficult circumstances and coming up with a 4-team playoff.
Coach Franklin, start with you, please.
I mean, can we get Lane to open up with some of these first so I can see how he answers it? I guess first thing I'd say is it's like anything else, right? It depends on your lens. I mean, if you're a Big Ten guy, you have that lens. If you're an SEC supporter, you have that lens. I think the reality is we had an opportunity to go to 12 teams this year, and it would have solved a lot of issues for a lot of people right now. So you could make an argument for a number of teams. And the reality is when we go to 12 teams, there's going to be arguments for 13, 14, and 15, no different than basketball deals with. So, but I do feel like, there was a solution before the season started that would have helped with this a lot. But there's always going to be some tough decisions that are going to have to be made. And there's always going to be some hurt feelings. I've been through it myself. We won the Big Ten championship, and another team from the Big Ten, went to the playoffs. So these are tough decisions. These are challenging situations that we're in, and I understand the argument and the discussion of all of it. But I'm going to leave my specific opinions to myself.
Coach Kiffin?
I think, like James said, obviously a lot to do with your lenses. And I actually, in our recruiting conversations with our official visiting kids today, just kind of, asked their opinion. Who do you think, this was before the announcement, who do you think, what 4 teams should go in? So you got to hear people from different areas have different answers. And at the end of the day, there's really easy arguments for everybody, if that's your team or that's your conference. So they had very hard decisions to make. I do feel for Florida State and their players for doing everything that they were asked to do and not making it. That was really obviously the first time that's ever happened. And to be undefeated and for that to happen, I did feel for them and Coach Norvell, because they had an amazing season, overcame a lot to do what they did.
Back to Tyler Comas from Inside the Rebels. Go ahead, Tyler.
Last one from me, Lane. Earlier this week, your tight ends coach announced his move to East Carolina. Do you envision him coaching this upcoming bowl game? And I guess what do you kind of look for in your next coach for next year?
I do think that he will. We've had discussions about that. Very excited for JDB getting that job and being able to call an offense and take the next step in his progression in his coaching career. And he did a great job here. So we're really happy for him in trying to work out, with them, how he can do both jobs and still coach for us in the game. So like always, we'll have a tireless effort to find our players the best coach that we can. We've had a lot of turnover here over our 4 years now here. And we'll just continue to do the best that we can for our players.
All right. Thank you, Coach. And with that, we are at our time limit, gentlemen. Gary, any final comment from you about the incredible matchup that we get to host here in Atlanta?
Congratulations to both Lane and to James. Just great jobs this year. To lose to number 1, number 4, number 6, and number 7 just goes to show how quality of programs that both Penn State and Ole Miss have. And we're looking forward to the navy blue on the field and a light blue or a bright red on the green of Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 30th. So thanks so much, guys. We appreciate your taking the time. We know how busy you are. Appreciate you serving the media this way, and we look forward to serving you and your staffs when you get here to Atlanta.
Gary, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you. Have
Thanks
a good week.
Coaches. We're looking forward to hosting the Rebels and the Nittany Lions in Atlanta. And to the media on the call, again, we'll have the transcripts and the videos sent out, and a lot more communication gearing up for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl will be headed your way. All right, that'll do it. Thanks very much, everyone.